Krishna, you are on the mute.
Yeah, Prabhuji, 1 second, Prabhuji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaivo Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraya. Srinavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Savana Kirtana Hridayantastre Vadani Vidhanoti Suditsatam Nasta Prayesu Abhatlesu Nityam Bhagavatu Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhakti Bhaviti Naistiki Mukham Karati Vachalam Pangulanghayate Girinektipatamam Bande Sri Guru Dina Tarinam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Isaram Paramananda Madhavam. Thanks everyone for joining this Srimad Bhagavatam class, and thanks for giving me the opportunity. So today we are going to read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, and text 16, 17, and 18. Now I'm reading text 16. Ye tu iha sakta manasaha karmasu sradhayanvitaha kurvanti aprati siddhani nitani apicha krishna saham. Translations or synonyms: ye, those who, to, but; iha, in this world; asakta, addicted; manasaha, whose mind; karmasu, to fruitive activities; Sadhaya, with faith; Anvitaha, endowed; Kurvanti, perform; Apratisidhani, with attachment to the result; Nityani, prescribed it is; Api, certainly; Cha, and Krishna Saha, repeatedly. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Persons who are too addicted to this material world execute their prescribed duties very nicely and with great faith. They daily perform all such prescribed duties with attachment to the fruitive results. Purport. In this and the following 6 verses, the Srimad Bhagavatam criticizes persons who are too material attached. It is enjoined in the Vedic scripture that those who are attached to enjoyment of material activities, material facilities, have to sacrifice and undergo certain ritualistic performances. They have to observe certain rules and regulations in their daily lives to be elevated to the heavenly planets. It is stated in this verse that such persons cannot be liberated at any time. Those who worship demigods with the consciousness that each and every demigod is a separate god cannot be elevated to the spiritual world. What to speak of persons who are simply attached to duties for the upliftment of their material condition. Verse 17. Rajasa kuntha manasaha karmatmano jitendriyaha pitrun yajanti anudhinam guhesu aviratasayah. Translation: such persons, impelled by the modes of passion, are full of anxieties and always aspire for sense gratification due to uncontrolled senses. They worship the forefathers and are busy day and night improving the economic condition of their family, social or national life. Text 18. Tai badgikaste purusa vimukha harimedasaha kathayam kathani yadu vikramasya madhudisaha. Translation. Such persons are called Tai Trai Badgika because they are interested in the three elevating processes. They are averse to the Supreme Personality of Godhead who can give relief to the conditioned soul. They are not interested in the Supreme Personality's pastimes, which are worth hearing because of his transcendental prowess. Purport. According to Vedic thoughts, there are four elevating principles, namely religiosity, economic development, self gratification, and liberation. Persons who are simply interested in material enjoyment makes plan to execute prescribed duties. They are interested in the three elevating processes of religious rituals, economic elevation, and sense enjoyment. By developing their economic condition, they can enjoy material life. Materialistic persons are therefore interested in those elevating processes, which are called Trai Badgika. Trai means three, Badgika means elevating processes. Such materialistic persons are never attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, they are antagonistic toward Him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore described as Hari Medha, or He who can deliver one from the cycle of birth and death. Materialistic persons are never interested in hearing about the marvelous pastimes of the Lord. They think that they are fictions and stories, and that the Supreme Personality, Supreme Godhead, is also a man of material nature. They are not fit for advancing in devotional service or Krishna consciousness. Such materialistic persons are interested in newspaper stories, novels, and imaginary dramas. The, the factual activities of the Lord, such as Lord Krishna's acting in the battle of Kurukshetra, or the activities of the Pandavas, or the Lord's activities in Vrindavan or Dwarka, are related in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which are full of activities of the Lord. But materialistic person who engages in elevating their position in the material world are not interested in such activities of the Lord. They may be interested in the activities of a great politician or a great rich man of this world, but they are not interested in the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले स्मते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Thanks everyone for giving me this opportunity to speak on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. I try to summarize whatever I learned from the lecture from Srila Prabhupada and from the other Vaishnavas. So basically, this chapter 32, like this particular is dealing with the entanglement in the fruitive activities. And so in the previous verses, like Lord Kapil Dev explained, talk about basically Gruhamedis, because this is continuing, right? The this talks about the Gruhamedis. There. So Prabhupada mentioned there are two kinds of householders. One is called Gruhamedi, and the other is called Grihastha, right? The objective of Gruhamedi is basically sense gratifications, and the objective of Grihastha is for the self realization. That's the difference. So here the Lord is speaking about the Grihamadi, or the person who wants to remain in this material world. His activities is to enjoy material benefits by performing religious rituals for economic development, and thereby ultimately satisfy the senses. He does not want anything more. Such a person works very hard throughout his life to become very rich and eat very nicely and drink. By giving some charity for pious activities, he can go to a high planetary atmosphere in the heavenly planets in his next life. But he does not want to stop the repetition of birth and death and finish with the concomitant miserable factors of material existence. Such a person is called a Gruhamedi. And people takes birth in this material world with different modes of nature, right? So based on their modes, their activities and consciousness are varied. Basically, there are out of 8.4 million species of life. So there are, there are around 400K or 4 lakhs for specifically for the human beings. So some of the human society in this material world are living like a kind of animal consciousness life, and some of them becomes introspective, and so then they try to understand Atattva Brahma Jigyasa. So and look for the purpose of life. Some of them basically try to live just like animalistic way, and some of the try to be introspective and look for the purpose of life. So that's why Lord Krishna says, मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतन्ति सिद्धये एतानाम् अपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन् मामेति तत्त्वतः. So basically, out of many thousands of men, one may endeavor for the perfection, and those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows the truths, right? So, but most of the people does not have time to ask the questions: Who am I? Why am I here? Why am I going to die one day? What is my purpose of life? Like the animal cannot inquire. So same way, the Manusya, the human beings, didn't also inquire because they never thought of this, because they are so busy in metal entanglement, or to how to increase their property, how to increase the bank balance and everything. So they completely forgot this basic principle, or the basic fundamental of the life. Why I'm here, the basic questions. He never thought about it. So that's why he be continued being the in the same life. Maybe if he did some pious activity, he one time he maybe get a chance to go to the heavenly planet and enjoy there, and again he have to come back once his bank balance is over in the heavenly planets. So this kind of things repeatedly or continue unless until he has some self realizations, right? So basically in the Vedanta Sutra, it says Athato Brahma Jigyansa. Jigyansa means is to inquire or to be curious, right? So when one is curious to know about his origins, that is called Athato Brahma Jigyansa. Usually people are ignorant and their origins, and therefore do not know the ultimate source of these manifestations. Right? Because why they don't know? Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Icha Desha Samuthena, right? So that's the one, Icha Desha Samuthena, Dandava Mohena Bharata, Sarva Bhutani Samaham, Sargayanti Parantapa. Means because this materialistic people, or you can say that the Icha means desire, and Desha means head, because everyone is bewildered, right? Because of this, when they got bought in this material world, they got bewildered by this Icha Desha, and that's why he completely forgot his real identity. So I'll further say further, like in the Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 2.24 mentioned that, O son of Kundi, the contact between the senses and the sense objects gives rise to fleeting perfection of happiness and distress. Therefore, non-permanent and come and go like winter and summer seasons. O Disana Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed, which means so we have to tolerate the either if you are getting the good things or bad things, because that used to come, because nothing is permanent. That's why Lord Krishna is saying that nothing is permanent. So a person should be rise above the most of nature, because if you because why you are feeling happy and distressed, or happy and distressed, because it's all about the modes of nature. So Lord Krishna is here is advising we have to go beyond the the modes of nature. So then after we can easily surpass this the dualities. So then further, basically people in general are not very intelligent. So and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the karma kind of portion of the Vedas. So that's why Lord Krishna says, Vedas sarve aham vedyo. So it means the Vedas is to get to know who is the your supreme father. If a person says, I know Vedas, I have read Veda many times, but if he doesn't know the purpose of the Vedas, so then it's useless to read those Vedas. So same for some persons, so they do different types of ritualistic activities, but they doesn't know what's the purpose. They just they just worship the different god to get some kind of benefits. So even though that result it's not it's temporary, it's not permanent, right? So Lord Krishna also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, whatever this materialistic persons, if you are worshipping some demigods, yeah, you will easily get the results immediately. So, but that is not permanent. That's temporary. That will be stay in this life only. Okay, that will never go to the next life. So that's why. So here also Prabhupada gave an example. So you have a supreme father. Okay, you have a father, but you have different relatives. If the relatives comes to your home, if you so basically if you ask them something, okay, give me the candy, give me the ice cream, they can easily give it to you, because they don't have to think so much about you. Okay, they said, okay, what do you want? Okay, I want candy. So like this, they can give. But later on, you will feel sick, maybe because they're eating so much of ice cream, something. The kid I'm talking about. So, but the father who knows better than if you ask, okay, can I have the ice cream, please? But the father said, no, I cannot give you because you might feel sick, because of this kind of winter and all, blah, blah. So father knows better about your, so that's why the Krishna is the supreme father. If you ask something, okay, if it is good for you, then Krishna definitely give it to you, because the father always want to the prosperity of the child. So same way, we can see the so that's why the materialistic person, they do not want anything more than sense gratification purposes for enjoying life in the heavens, and where wine and women are available and the material opulence is very common. So in the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for the elevation to the heavenly planets, specifically called Jyotishtoma sacrifice. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices. And the man with a poor fund of knowledge thinks that this is the whole purpose of the Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced person to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the result of such attractions, unintelligent men are similarly attached by such heavenly opulences and the sense enjoyment therefore. So in the basically in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service, the supreme does not take place. So generally, we saw people always run after material prosperity and opulences. Most of the materialistic men approaches demigod. In one of the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada mentioned, like the way I explained, Sati, being the devoted wife of Lord Shiva, offers all kinds of material opulences to the worshipper of Lord Shiva. This fact is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the 10th canto, Lord Shiva's worshippers sometimes appear more opulent than the worshipper of Lord Vishnu. Because Durga, Mother Parvati or Sati, being the superintendent, she's the superintendent of the material world as a Durga Devi, right? So being the superintendent of the material affairs, she can offer all material opulences to the worshipper of Lord Shiva in order to glorify her husband. So whereas the worshipper of Vishnu are meant for spiritual elevations, and therefore their material opulences is sometimes found to be decreased. So these points are very nice discussed in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and then the materialist people has one slogan like they sometimes think the work is worship, so work is worship. So Kami Puja, like they mention that, and they say that it is as per the Gita, you know. So if any kind of work is worship, then the art is the greatest worshipper, right? So this is what Prabhupada mentioned. If any kind of worship, any kind of worship is a puja, so then definitely the art is the greatest worshipper, and those performing in the slaughterhouse and those doing the ostrich, so they're the same. So those means does not like the materialistic way the propaganda, like, the work is worship. That's a false propaganda. So in this way, we scrutinize Gita according to this context, traditional background, and conclusion. The verse, right? So we have Lord Krishna says like, um, "Karmani vadikaraste ma phalasya kadachana," means people are that interpreted in different way. So certainly are not propagating what is worship, theory. Rather, it is conveying the message that through our work, one should worship the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Krishna. But the work prescribed duties should be performed for Lord Krishna's satisfaction alone, and not for our own sense gratification. In such case, our work turns into worship and it becomes the means for our liberation from this material world. Otherwise, the prescribed duties only bind us to this material world. So in the Vedas, it has instruction of basically Vedas is meant for all kinds of peoples, like in the modes of nature, like the modes of ignorance, modes of passion, and modes of um, modes of ignorance, modes of passion, and modes of goodness. So basically, the Veda is deals about the three kinds of persons, and most of them are get entangled in the karma kanda section of the Vedas, right? As it is mentioned, if you do this, you'll get this heavenly planet. So that is very detailed mention. If you do this kind of yajna, you'll go to this Indra Loka, and if you do this, you'll go to Chandra Loka. So this is basically the karma kanda. Veda has three sections, right? The karma kanda, jnana kanda, bhakti kanda. So if peoples are less intelligent, they will focus only the karma kanda section of the Vedas, and that's why what happens in the last verse, text 18, it mentioned that so out of four, because these are the religious principles like religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, and the finalized is the liberation. So that people is so much stuck in this thing, they do not progress to the liberation part of this. All right. So with this note, I'll stop here.